today, guys, we are doing multiple things. We're going to be using this perlite right here, and what we're going to be doing with that is we're going to be putting it in baggies, and then these baggies are going to go in the fridge for some late cold stratification. I already have some things stratifying in the fridge right now, but I used soil in some of the bags, and I used coffee filters in the other bags. So this time I want to try perlite because I haven't done that yet, and I just kind of want to see if it's better, like if it's less likely to get moldy, if it's less likely to get gross in the fridge using perlite. I'm just going to test it. So I've just picked out like, I don't know, 6-7 bags here, so I may not even have enough bags for all of these, but I'm just going to choose the ones I care about the most. And some of these we're going to do columbine, we're probably going to do cardinal flower, rattlesnake master, cup plant, golden Alexander, and let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. So I can do 2 more, so I'll probably do great blue lobelia, and that one I'm probably not, so I'll probably do Joe Pye weed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the perlite in the baggie, put the seeds in the baggie, and then I'm going to shake the baggie. So I'll go ahead and show you that right now. So first, and then I don't know if I'm supposed to wear gloves or not. I mean, these gloves are kind of dirty, so it's not going to be perfectly sterile, but sterile-ish. And I'm just going to put about that much. That's probably actually too much. I'll probably put some of that in another baggie. I don't need to put a ton in there. And again, I don't know if you need gloves for this or not. I'm just wearing them just in case, because I don't know. So, I'm just going to transfer some of this over here. You might want to wear a mask. It actually kicks up dust, and I didn't realize it was so dusty, so should probably wear a mask or do this more outside rather than inside. So I think that's a decent amount in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate. First of all, before you even do that, it's better to just go ahead and write on your bag. So I've conveniently already put the cold stratification dates on these. So for instance, let's look at columbine. Columbine is 60 days, cold moist stratification. So we're going to do 60 days on here. So what you'll do is you'll go to your calendar and you'll actually calculate the 60 days. Okay, so for this it'll be April 25th. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in, oh, is this pin not right? Okay, in and then out. So out will be the April 25th date, which is, you know, a week or so after our last frost date. That doesn't really matter. That's just, it is easier though, because I don't even have to worry about frost. Once these are done stratifying, I can just put them straight into a pot like this and with some soil. Once April 25th is here, and I can just grow them in a pot until they get big enough, and then I can put them out in the garden. They probably won't be ready to go out into the garden until fall. So that's something to note. It depends on the plant. Some plants grow faster than others, so some of your plants are going to be ready to put in the ground in spring if you did this earlier. But some of these plants, you won't really be ready to put them out until the fall. So for our end date, that's today's date, which is February 25th. Okay, makes sense. So today is February 25th. And I just like to do that so I know how long it's been in the fridge. And then this one's going to be columbine. And what's great is once you know that, for instance, the columbine is 60 days, just go ahead and do all your 60 days baggies. It'll just make it easier. So cup plant is 60 days, so that'll go with the columbine here. Let's see. Rattlesnake Master is 60 days, so that'll go here. Cardinal Flower is 60 days, so that'll go here. What else? Joe Pieweed is 30, so that's not going to go with that. Great Blue Lobelia is 60, so that'll go here. So most of these are 60. So most of these you will not be able to take out of your fridge until April 25th because we waited to start till February 25th. So these 60 days ones are going to take longer. They're probably not really going to go in the ground until the fall. So they are going to take work to take care of. You're going to have to water them over the summer or put them in the shade for the hottest parts of the summer. Okay, so the next one, since we have all of them ready here, we already have our columbine written, so we're going to write cup plant next. So I'm going to put cup plant right here, and then I'm going to put in February 25th, out April 25th. And so off camera, I'm going to do this with all of these baggies that you see right here, and I'm going to fill them all up with perlite, and then I will be back to show you me putting the seeds in, so that way you can see actually what that's going to look like. Okay folks, this is the tricky part. I have never done this with perlite before, so now I have to figure out how to get the moisture right, because I have this water pitcher here, and I have a water spritzer. So I want to make sure that I make these moist enough, but not like overly wet. And that's tricky because I don't work with perlite very much, so this is going to be a learning curve. But, you know, let's just see. So I'm going to try to start off with this thing, and I'm going to actually do it over this because I plan to use this bin later to mix soil. So we're pouring the water into it. Now let's see, did that really wet it much? It wet like the top part. Might need more water, I don't know. Again, I don't want to like crazy milkshake or anything. I don't want like a bag of water, you know? So I don't want to oversaturate this, but I don't want to undersaturate it. And I just don't know what perlite's supposed to look like when it's moist enough. If it even changes color. Looks more like styrofoam right now. Or Dippin' Dots. Have y'all ever had Dippin' Dots? That like ice cream snack you can get at the mall, or at least you used to be able to get at the mall. I don't know if you still can. That stuff was good. But this kind of looks like that. But don't eat this. This is not edible. Okay. I'm going to say that that's moist enough, maybe. I don't know. See, this is the thing. Maybe I should add more water. I just don't know how moist your perlite's supposed to be if you're just using perlite. Did you hear that? That was like a waterfall. See, I feel like that's too much now. See that? It's like you can see the liquid. I think it's supposed to be more like damp, not wet. You can see that liquid moving around. So I'm going to actually like pour some of this out. And it won't hurt this to have perlite in it. I mean, perlite is like put in potting soil all the time. Huh. Well, I think maybe that's, I don't know. Guys, I don't know. It looks more moist than it is out of the bag. So just compare the two, you know? Dusty and dry, and then moist. Maybe. I don't know. So I'm just going to do that for all these, and we'll be back in a jiffy. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button if you are enjoying this content, and hit the subscribe button if you want to continue to see more. Don't forget to hit the bell so that YouTube actually notifies you when I come out with a new video. First, we're going to do cup plant. Cup plant is a beautiful, beautiful plant that butterflies absolutely go gaga over. So what we're going to do, this one needs the 60 days cold moist stratification. We have moistened all of these. Kind of hard to tell with this stuff, but it is moistened. You can kind of see moisture down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open this packet, if I can, and I'm going to get some of the seeds. So these seeds are kind of large. This is what the seeds look like right here. This is the seed. It's like a heart. Okay, so there's a little bit of chaff in here, but it's not too bad. Like, we've got a stem right here, but there is a seed attached to it. That is a pretty cool stem. But so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to take some of the chaff out, and sometimes you can blow it. And then I'm going to take these seeds and I'm just going to put them in here. So I'm just going to throw them in. And I'm going to do a few of these. I'm not going to do all of these, but I am going to do a few more. So there's a little bit of chaff with this, so I'm just going to do that. Because the seeds are usually a little bit heavier, so except for this piece right here. Okay, so I'm just going to throw those in. There's a little bit of chaff, but hopefully it'll be okay. So what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to do one more little spritz. So the seeds will be actually a couple spritzes. And then I'm going to go like this. Actually, what I'm actually going to do first is I'm going to close it. That way I can mix this up, because you want to mix it up. So you might have to have a little bit of air in here. So you'll start out with some air so you can more easily mix it up, but you're going to take that air out later. So we're going to mix it up like this. And if you have seeds that need stratification, this aids the stratification. It makes the seeds think that they went through a digestive tract. So that's really good to do with, you know, berry producing, like berry seeds, like anything with berries. So now it's fully mixed. So what I am going to do is I'm going to take a lot of this air out. And I'm just going to close it up like this. There we go. Now we have our seeds, and they're a little bit moist, and we have the perlite, and it's all just kind of mixed together. You can even see some of the moisture in there. So there we have it. We have cup plant, and I'm going to do this with all of these off camera, and then we'll be back. Okay, so now we've got all of the perlite baggies filled with seeds and moisture, and as you can see, when I shook them up, I made the distribution of the seeds fairly even, a lot more even than it was, and then I took the rest of the air out as much as I could, and then closed it. And so you're going to see that with each of these, distributed as evenly as possible. And so these are ready to go in the fridge. So these are going to go in the fridge. And the next thing I'm going to work on is I'm going to work on potting some things up. So I actually probably want these skinny ones for this, because what I have is I have my fridge stratified grass seeds. Online, different websites say you don't need to stratify these grass seeds, but then other websites say you need to stratify for 20 days. So here we are, over 20 days later, because it's February 25th today. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to plant these in these pots. Now the reason I picked these pots is, as you can see, they're very deep. This is probably 5 inches deep maybe. And the reason for that is our native grasses, not all, but most of our native grasses have extremely long roots. And so it's best to put them in the deeper containers for, you know, fully full room for the roots to grow, but also so that when you water them, there's place for the water to go so that they can actually utilize the water, because if their roots get too dense without having any soil around those roots, then they will dry out very quickly. And I have a very hot microclimate up on my hill where I live, lots of full sun, lots of concrete. So to keep these alive over the summer, assuming that they're going to grow slower, then I'm going to have to keep them in the pot for a while. Now, the best case scenario is if they grow faster and I can actually take this pot and actually plant it in the garden in a few months, but we don't know if it's going to go that way. So I'm just doing this just in case. So I've got, let's see, side oats grama, switchgrass, side oats grama. So what I did was I did some of them in the coffee filters and some of them in the soil. And this soil is seed starting mix. It's seed starting mix. It's not your run-of-the-mill potting soil. So the reason I did this is, you don't want mold in your fridge. These, I've had issues with getting mold on things like this before. It kind of looks like it's starting to, so good thing we took them out. This one, I've had mold on these before, and I'll show you later in the video because I have examples. But it looks like these are fine, and it's probably because they've only been in the fridge for about 25 days. So what we're going to do is we have side oats grama here and side oats grama here. So we're going to put the same plant with itself, excuse me. So side oats grama is going to go here. And then we have switchgrass and switchgrass. So I have switchgrass here and switchgrass here. So I have both examples together of each. And then it looks like, it looks like late purple aster didn't have a soil version, maybe? So late purple aster is, I guess, just in the coffee filter. So we're going to put these into pots. So we have 3 different species, but we have 2 different methods for the grass species. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do it like this. I'm going to do 1 per method, I guess. It just really depends, because here's the deal. There's a lot of seeds in there. So we're probably going to need quite a few pots. So I'm just going to go ahead and gather up my pots. Now these are slightly shorter, as you can see. So these might be better for the asters. So I'll probably do the grasses in these tall ones, and then do the asters in these slightly shorter ones. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these pots laid out, because what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do 4 of the asters and then 3 of each of the species of grass. But first, what we have to do is we need to put soil from this bag into this bin. I just heard a beep outside. But first, I'm going to dump this outside. I'm probably going to have to get more water in a minute, but for now, this should be enough to just show you how I'm going to start. So I'm going to start is with some gloves, and I also have a shovel. So I'm just going to it's actually really hard to see, but I'm just going to start filling this bin up with soil. And what you could probably do to make it a little faster is just try to dump it. It's kind of difficult, but if you have someone strong, you could probably do that. But this is way too heavy. It's probably just really moist. So what I can probably just do is do it like this, because at least I don't have to go up, and I can just go down and then pick it up. Oh, there's a spider in there. Take a look at this. And there's a little spider in there. Oh goodness. Where did he go? We don't really want him in here. Oh, he's in here somewhere. Be careful. Spiders can end up in your soil. That's why you're wearing gloves. I can't find him. So, I don't know where he went. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, I guess I need to move these. These are kind of in the way. I'm going to add some water to this. I think it's slightly moist, but it'd help if I'd open it. I think it's slightly moist, but I don't think it's nearly moist enough. And I'm probably going to have to get more water because I'm out. But sorry, poor spider, wherever you went. You're in here somewhere, but I don't know where. So we're just going to mix this up. We don't want it to be sopping wet, but we don't want it to be dry. We want it to be moist. And the more soil that you're trying to move around, the more work it takes. Okay, so next we have our pot. It's clean. I washed it recently. So I washed these pots recently. So it's very, very clean. I'm sure it's not perfect, but that's what we're going with. And then the soil is moistened. So we're just going to start filling this up with soil. So what we want to do, since it looks full, it's probably not, we're going to actually slam it. Do a little bit of slamming. And we're going to add a little bit more. Might have to slam it on the table. You want a little bit of a gap between the soil and the top, but you don't want a huge gap. This is pretty close to an inch, so I think that's good. This is about half an inch to an inch. Sorry, I saw something in the soil. Thought I saw something moving around in the soil. Okay, we're good. So I think this is good. So I'm just going to do this with each of these pots now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make name tags. These are just window blinds that I hated that were in my house when I moved in, and I cut them up and turned them into plant tags. So first we're going to need to do late purple aster. Now late purple aster we don't have a soil version of, we only have the coffee filter version. So we're just going to do late purple aster, and we're going to say coffee filter, and then we're going to say strat Jan 31 to Feb 20, and we're going to say potted whatever the date is. And today is February 25th, so we're going to put Feb 25th. And I know that seems like a lot, but I am running an experiment. If you're not running an experiment and you already know what method you like the best, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're like me and you're learning your best method for cold moist stratification, and you want to know which of these methods is best for you, then you're going to want to actually document each thing. So I put coffee filter because, well, that's the method of stratification that I used, was a coffee filter that was moistened and put in the fridge. Now for these that are soil, it's going, instead of coffee filter, it's going to say seed starting mix or seed mix. That's probably the way to shorten it. And the dates are so that you know, hey, I stratified this for 20 days, and hey, I potted it up on this date. So that way you can track how long it was stratified, what way it was stratified, and when you potted it up. or sow the seed in a pot, I should say. Because you're going to want to know all these things when you are running an experiment like I am. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to write all these name tags off camera, and then we'll come back. Okay, so now we are going to take what's in these bags, or at least some of what's in these bags, and we're going to put them in pots. And since I haven't done this method, like the soil one, for example, I've never done that method before. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how that's going to turn out. Because what I'm going to have to do, and I'm going to use this as an example, we've got our baggie, Sado's Grandma, Sado's Grandma. I always say that weird, but, and then here's our tag. As you can see, I've put all the info on there. And again, I'm going to do grasses in the taller ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the name tag in, I'm going to actually use this pot, in the pot. So I'm going to put the name tag in the pot. And I used pencil because pencil holds up outside for the most part in the weather, surprisingly. You can't just use Sharpie permanent markers because even though they're permanent, they're not permanent outside. The sun and the rain will destroy them. It will just get completely blank and you won't know what your plant is. So you either need a garden marker that's specifically for outside, or you need to use pencil. And I don't want to buy it, so I'm just going to use pencil. So what I'm going to do with this method, you might want to come in close, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to stick my hands in here and I'm going to have to get the seeds. So you can see the seeds in here. What is that green thing? Is that a stem? I legit don't know what that's from. Anyway, so these seeds I'm just going to put on here. I'm just going to kind of spread them out a little bit. And I might get a couple more just because, you know, I didn't have great germination. But they might get better germination now that these are stratified. So, and then I'm just going to lightly push them onto the soil. And with these, I'm probably going to just barely sprinkle just a little bit of soil on top, just because they're not super tiny seeds. So I'm not fully surface sowing them, but I'm not fully burying them either, just because I want to make sure that they can get in there. So that's what I'm doing with Sado's Grandma. And this is the seed mix pot. And it says it on there. Easy. We're going to do the same thing with the coffee filter one. So we're going to close this one for now. And we're going to keep it over here so we know that, hey, that's been done already. So the next one is Sado's Grandma again. But this time it is the coffee filter method. So we're going to do it in this pot. And we're going to stick the name tag in there first. I have to take some of these little chunks out because I feel like these chunks are just too much. And what I'm going to do, I should probably kind of clean my hands off. Probably should have brought paper towels down here, but whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this coffee filter. I don't know what that sound is. And I'm going to open it up. I'm going to try to open it up. Might have to have a surface to put it on. And look at those seeds in there. They've been kept moist in this coffee filter over 20 days, actually 25 days if you count today. And we're going to take some of these. That's probably too many, but we're just going to do it anyway. And we're going to put them on the surface. It's a lot, I know. We can thin these later, or we can just let them fight it out. And then we're going to take some of the soil, and we're just going to just lightly sprinkle some on here. Again, I don't want to bury these too deep. And then we're just going to gently, oops, those kind of came back up. Might have to put a little bit more soil on there. And then we're just going to gently press them in there. Because, why? Good soil contact. You want good soil contact so that that seed can shove its roots into the soil. So there we go. We have our Sowing Grama seed mix version and our Sowing Grama coffee filter version. These are ready to go outside, and they should germinate when the weather is optimal for them. Please tell me no one's mowing right now. Is someone really mowing right now? So we're going to sit these here just so they have somewhere to sit. And I'm going to do the same thing with all of these that I have. And then we'll be back. Okay, so this next part may or may not make it into the video. Depends on if I actually have seeds in here. So if you get closer, I'll give you a look at what you're looking at. So this says snake root. It says sowed 1/10/23. Sowed is not really the best word that I used back then. It should have said like put in the fridge or in. You know, this year I'm doing in and out, remember, on our bags? But this was last year, and I had a lot of failure last year. I had a lot of failure with fridge stratification. I had a lot of failure with seedlings outside in pots. Lots of failure. So anyway, it says put out March 11th, 2023. And I think I did that on these. I think I put some seeds out, but to tell you the truth, I don't know if there's more in here. So if we take a look, this is dry at this point because this has been out of the fridge, out and dry and all that. So it's also dried out, so that's not great. And then this is why they ended up this way, because I noticed they were getting kind of moldy. So there are seeds in here, but they look questionable. If you zoom in, you might be able to tell. Let's see if we can get a zoom on that. There are seeds there, but they look a little bit puny. I don't know how else to word it. And, but this is snake root, and we're going to go ahead and try to sow some of these. And so what I have to do is, again, I have to make a name tag, and I have to put soil in a pot, and yada yada. So I'm going to do that stuff off camera, but I did want you to see what these look like. So we're going to, before we do all that, we're going to open another one. We're going to open this pale touch-me-not, which looks like a biohazard or something. It doesn't look good, right? It looks like a lot of mold. So I'm actually going to wear gloves when I do this one. And the way I'm going to do it is hopefully I can open it with gloves on. I don't actually know. These gloves are so cold right now. Oh my gosh. But this is pale touch-me-not. This is supposed to get put in the fridge for like 2 months and then made warm again for 2 months and then put outside in 2 months from then. So fridge, 80 degrees, fridge, outside. And that's why mold grew, because I was going from the fridge to my husband's really warm computer, like putting him on near his computer where it's really hot, and then putting him in the fridge again, and it just got moldy. So this could be bad. As you can see, the coffee filter is actually being eaten by whatever is growing here. It's a little bit scary. It's actually shiny. So I don't know what's happening. Hopefully this isn't dangerous to breathe in. Here we are. So it reminds me of something you'd see in like an archive building. Like, oh, look at this old paper from like 1811 or something. I don't know. I don't even know if there's any seeds in here at this point. Like, look at that. You see any seeds? I don't. Is that seeds? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get anything out of that. So, probably not going to get anything out of that. I don't trust it. So this is just going to go in the trash, which I think I have a little trash can down here somewhere. A little trash can. My little trash can. So we're just going to sit that there because it's going to be probably a multi-thing. But I think the gloves were just needed for that one. I think the rest of them were just kind of dried out and slight mold rather than biohazard level. So this one might be a little bit moldy too. This is cut leaf coneflower. Hey, look, there's actually some seeds in there. We might be able to do this. They've been dried out for a while though, so we'll see. But they did get stratified, so we will see. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a pot, we're going to fill it with soil, we're going to make it a name tag, and we're going to do this with ones we actually have seeds for off camera. So I'll see you in a moment. Some of them look potentially promising. Some of them had to be thrown away because some of them were basically just had disappeared. Pale Touch Me Not disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. It just probably decayed. But another one disappeared. I forget which one. Wood Sedge didn't disappear. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is some of them look like they might work, but we'll see. Because here's the thing. Even though they were cold, moist, stratified, they got moldy and then they got dried out. So we're still working against the current, so to speak. But if you come a little closer, I will show you that stiff gentian. Actually, there's several seeds here, and they are mobile, and so they might work. We'll see. We're going to plant them into this pot right here. I've made a little name tag for them, and I've labeled it, 2023 moldy fridge strat dried out. This way I know exactly what happened, exactly what I did. I considered these a fail last year, but hey, if they grow, then they're not really a failure after all. So we are going to see if they will work. So I'm just going to try to carefully sow these, and I'm going to sow all of these because they got dried out and moldy, so, might as well just sow all of them. And they are mostly like a surface sow situation because they're so tiny. So you're just going to let them sprinkle in there. Might have to pat them on the back. And I think that's mostly it. And so they're there. And I would normally push them to give them soil contact, but these are so tiny and they're so dark. I don't want to have them stick to my hand because I won't be able to tell. They just blend in with the soil. So instead, I'm going to go like this. And hopefully that will give them enough soil contact. And we're calling that one done. Stiff gentian. And I'm going to do the same thing with these. And if you come a little closer, I'll show you. So here I have wild senna. These were part of the quote-unquote failed group of seeds, but they look pretty good. And they need scarification usually. So what I did, my husband actually had this idea because he's really smart. Since I didn't want to go in to get my sandpaper, I just scraped them across this rough texture of these needle nose pliers. And it gave them a little bit of a scratch, right? And I accidentally crushed one of them, which tells me I was probably on the right track and I just pressed too hard with that one. So I threw that one away, but the rest are fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our wild senna name tag and we're going to put it in the soil like this. And then we're going to take these seeds. I just dropped one somewhere. I don't know where. Oh, there it is. And we're just going to sow them into this pot. And I'm going to do that same thing I did earlier. Actually, I'm not because it's actually moving them too much. So I think it's better if I just press these. So I'm going to press these gently into the soil. I don't know how deep these need to go because they are a little bit bigger. They're not huge, but they're a little bit bigger. So I am going to add just a little sprinkle of soil to the top, just a little, and then I will push that down onto them. Make sure they're all in there. I think we're good. And then that one's done. And I'll show you these other two, but I'm not going to show you me sowing them. I'm just going to show them to you. This is common wood sedge. This one got pretty moldy. It doesn't look great, but you can kind of see the seeds in there. Some of them look moldy and some of them look maybe okay. So these might not do anything, but we're still going to try it anyway. And these are cut leaf coneflower. They actually look pretty decent. They're just kind of dry. So they look decent. There's not a ton of them there, but there's some there. So we're going to try that too. And I'm going to do that off camera and we'll be back. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do in this video, and I'm going to do it off camera, but I do want to explain what I'm doing, and then I'm going to end this video after this. So these pots that you see here that are cracked and old, they were my failure winter sowing and stratified, whatever. They were my failure seedlings from last year. And basically, I've been seeing, if you come closer, I'll show you, I've been seeing some like little green growth in here. And this is supposed to be pale beard tongue, for example. And I've seen little green growth in several of these pots. And I don't know if they are what they say they are, because these have been out for over a year pretty much. They've been outside for so long that seeds could have blown in. So when I label these, I'm going to label them with a star or some kind of symbol, and I'm going to put like iffy or maybes. I'm going to put something on the labels that indicate that, hey, FYI, let these grow enough to tell what they are, because I don't want to plant things in the wrong place. For example, I have asters and goldenrods that have gone to seed all winter long back here, and I'm noticing that those seedlings are popping up in some of my pots. And so, that could be what's growing in here, but it might not be, because some of these actually do look like beard tongue, just looking at them, and some of them don't. So I could have both, So I'm going to pot some of these up because the soil, remember, last year was terrible. So I have better soil this year. So I'm going to pot some of these up in this better soil, and we'll see if they actually grow better and do better. And I also know a little bit better about fertilizer. So I'll be adding some of that as the season goes on, and we'll just see how it goes. But that is the end of this video. It is probably way too long already as it is. So we're going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while I do some cold moist stratification and while I take some cold moist stratified things out of the fridge and put into pots. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys. You all requested it, and it's finally here. Reduce Your Lawn shirts are now available in my brand new merch shop. Thanks so much for supporting the wildlife habitat we're creating. To support the channel, like the video, comment, and subscribe. You can also support my work by buying art from me at macylu.com. Thanks for watching!